Um, yeah. So I think when it comes to like the dads and tech stuff, I think so. A buddy of mine, he did my welcome home video, and he
Yeah.
runs creative and community for Freaks of Nature. Freaks of Nature is a D2C brand. It's a
Okay.
sunscreen brand. I don't know who this is. Kelly Slater is like the big
Okay.
thing.
Yeah,
And
he's a
he's a
surfer.
surfer.
Yeah.
And so like it's like amazing job he has. He flies out to like he was in Hawaii
Okay.
shooting surfing content for a week. I'm like, oh, that stinks. So
Yeah.
basically, he told me something that I think this is what I want to do with Dads in Tech is like you just want to give people a starting line. And I just think that like really resonated with me so much. Just giving people a starting point, I
Yeah.
think it's huge.
No, totally. Yeah, it's the saying the obvious here, but the people are what make the community. It's not the people's like you obviously need people starting the community and you do need moderation and stuff, but it's really hard to scale like a very large community.
Yeah.
Like for example, like when I worked at Dev2, like by the time I left, we had 1 million active members. Like that's a crap ton of people.
That's crazy.
And hey, what's up, Jason? And like we had a moderation team, but it was like when I left there, I think it was 4 people. The only way we were able to scale moderation was there was some automations, but a lot of it was people in the community, like people like I don't know if Jeff Jesse's in the chat yet, but like there's a lot of people that, and including myself, even when I left, I stayed as a moderator because I cared about the community, and it's just really hard to moderate all that, but
Yeah.
but it's really the people that make it and build it. It's
100%.
you're just kind of like starting the fire. That's it. So
Yeah.
maybe not the
It's
best analogy right now.
Yeah,
But.
it's 100%. It's 100% the people. Ah, there he is.
Yeah, hey, Jeff.
There he is. There he is. I mean, shout out Jeff Jesse, dude. You're a G
Yeah.
man. I mean, you're making the Torque community. I mean, Jeff's out there welcoming people into the Torque community.
Yeah.
Jeff, you are going to get our first batch of merch. By the way, the swag for Torque is going to be insane. Like nice. I got the second revisions of the Torque. Shout out Isaac. We're using Zara Isaac on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
Over in Africa, Nigeria, I think is where he's based out of.
Yeah.
And dude, our goal is to get it completely done. I'm gonna try to get something rushed for me for Amsterdam because the hoodies are sick. I mean, they're sick. So
yeah. Okay, so that's where you're going. It's Amsterdam. I'm going to London.
Yeah. All right, real quick. Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. But basically, so I think starting out these things is a little awkward because it's like it takes like a few minutes for people to tune in, and so like Nick and I were just like kind of diving in the community, and we were talking about Dads in Tech, and Nick's like, man, we're just like talking about a lot of good shit. Like we should probably go live. So we just went live. So good morning. Happy Wednesday. It's good to see you all. I'm dragging this morning. Had beer league hockey last night. We lost again. We're on a 3-game losing streak. Lower A has gotten very competitive, and we just can't put pucks in the back of the net. So we lost last night 6-4, unfortunately. And I didn't go to bed till about 1 a.m. last night. So dragging a little bit this morning, but nothing but a little cold brew and some Zins won't help. So
yeah, totally.
But good morning. Please say hey. Would love to hear from you. I'm excited for this conversation. So first off, I want to apologize to Nick publicly because Nick is an amazing individual. I've admired what he's done from afar, his streams, his engagement. He's always there. And I actually tell people this. I said, the people who I consider my friends, I actually do the worst job of inviting people onto the show because I'm like, oh, I know them. We have great conversations. I respect them. I don't think to invite them. So I've had some people, Nick has not done this, but I've had some people in the chats go like, hey, like, why haven't you invited me? I'm like, oh shit, I'm so sorry. There's no hard. It's just because I know you, so like I don't think about it. So this is a long time coming. So I'm happy to have Nick on the show. I think this topic's gonna be very applicable to a lot of people. I'm headed to Dev World in 2 weeks in Amsterdam. Nick, where are you heading again?
Yeah, I'm heading to London April 1st to KubeCon Europe.
Okay.
So we'll get into our comps, but it's massive. Like I've been a Render, which I went to
Yeah,
Render
Render's the largest I've
2023.
been to.
Yeah, I can't remember how big it was in 2023. I feel like
Yeah.
it was like 3,000 maybe.
Yeah.
Um,
They hit
but
5,000 this past year. Like
yeah, that's wild.
total.
But this is the first time I'm going to KubeCon because like I've kind of I'm still in the web dev community, but like where I'm working at now, it's kind of more security infra. So like I'm about to meet a bunch of new friends
About
and
to meet a bunch of nerds. Let's just be
yeah,
honest. It's just like
it's all
that
good. It's all
whole
good.
side is very different. I mean that I
I'll
mean that in the best way possible.
all I'll say is I'm a bit of a nerd too, because like even like one of the guys I played rugby with, like when we go on vacation together, sometimes like we'll be on the beach and I'll be reading a programming book and he's like
All right,
he's
you
a
are a
good
big
friend of
nerd. Yeah,
mine, but
you're a
he's
big nerd.
like, "Are you reading one of those nerd books?" And I'm like, yes, I
Yeah, yeah,
do.
that's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. So yeah, we're gonna talk about that today. But again, kind of some few shout outs real quick as always. First off, shout out Torque. Listen, we hire people too, right? I think one of the things I'm gonna start doing. I was listening to a marketing podcast yesterday. I'm gonna try to do one video a day for 30 business days on like basically what Torque is. I'm gonna do one today. But we do
Okay.
hire and we help hire a ton of people around the globe. So if you need engineering help, I think what's really cool about this is like my last companies were just kind of more US based. We can
Yeah.
literally help scale teams anywhere because we also have the power of Ronstad Global
Okay.
to be able to do that. So really, really cool. So shout out Torque. Also want to shout out to AppWrite.io. I'm an AppWrite hero. Jason's an AppWrite hero. We're looking to do some cool stuff with them. I have some AppWrite heroes coming on the show here soon. So shout out them. I love their product, love their team. They're doing a lot of good stuff. Let's see. I want to give a shout. Oh, also too, if you want to check out everything, we're shout out Jason for kind of deploying this site. Torcal.vercel.app. We probably needed to just do like a simple URL than that, but go check out our community page. It has literally our schedule. We're about to do a call for ambassadors and a call for mentors as well. So if you are interested in being a mentor in our community, get some of that sweet swag I was talking about, go sign up on this page. It's going to be a great one. And also, too, final thing, if you want to be kept in a loop with when I go live, text this number. I should probably edit this a little bit and say like text live. This is actually my number. I'm trying to use my texting community a little bit more than I have. So if you want to get caught up, I text every morning or every time I go live on like who the guest is. So text me if you want to be kept up to date. All right. So all that being said, we definitely got some people tuning in now this morning. So it's great. Okay, cool. We are moving to the Torque platform. There you go. Awesome. All right. So Nick, let's give a background about you real quick, other than you like to read nerd books at the beach.
Yeah. So I've been in the tech industry for quite a while. I've been a dev professionally since 2002. Kind of worked all over the place. Had a lot of my early career in .NET, and then eventually moved over to like kind of full stack, Node.js, JavaScript, TypeScript kind of stuff. And it's kind of funny, like since 2020, I've been working professionally in open source. So like literally getting paid to work in open source. So like from dev to Netlify, OpenSauce, and now Pomerium where I'm at. And it's kind of funny. People always thought I was a developer advocate, but I've always been like full-time engineering. And this opportunity came up at Pomerium for a developer advocate role. Somebody in my network reached out, and I was like, you know what? People always think I am one, so like, hey, let's give this a go.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a wild ride in a good way, but super pumped to be over there.
I love that. I love that. All right, so let's get into meat and potatoes and why people are here. How to navigate big conferences. So I'm an introvert. I'm a social sprinter, as I like to say. How many people are at KubeCon or are going to be there, at least tentatively?
This is wild. It's apparently 6,000 to 10,000 people, which is the
about
biggest
the same
I've ever
size
been.
as DevWorld then.
Okay,
DevWorld
yeah.
like 7,500 is what they're touting.
Okay, yeah. So and they have this twice a year. There's one in Europe always, and then one in North America.
That's smart.
So it's the biggest one I will have ever been to. Before that, it was Render, like we were saying. So Yeah, I'm still thinking about how to navigate this because part of what I'm going down there for, I'll be working at our booth
Okay.
for a bit,
Booth
obviously.
makes it a bit easier. I will say that.
Yeah, it's true because you're obviously gonna talk to people.
Yeah.
Uh, but I'm kind of also I'm new to this community and I'm still pretty new to Kubernetes. So like I want to be able to try and catch some talks, but also like I really do want to meet people in that industry, in that community.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to figure out the best way to do that. Really, like I am extroverted, so like I have no problem just going up to a random person and
Oh,
saying,
that's
"Hey, can
awesome.
I
I
sit here
can't.
and
I mean,
have
isn't that
lunch?"
crazy? That's like my head of community, and I just can't. I'm
Well,
terrified to go up to
it's
people.
funny that you say that, but like until you said it literally publicly that you were not extroverted, I always assumed you were. So you like
Yeah,
you put a
yeah,
lot of work into it, but I know it's draining for
it
you.
is.
So
It
yeah,
is, and that's something like I'm trying to be mindful of. So like, so I'll kind of get nerdy for a quick second on kind of some things I'm thinking about. We can go back and forth. So like,
yeah.
for me, we don't have a booth. I'm going by myself.
Okay,
I will have the video guys. So we'll produce some pretty cool content I'm excited about. But um, one of the things that I do really well on is podcasting and small intimate settings, right? So
yeah.
one of the things that I'm really excited about with DevWorld is they actually have a podcast booth setup
Oh, that's sweet.
and it's fully equipped. And as far as I'm understanding, I'm going to message Yost after this, who puts it
Okay.
together. He puts together JS World, by the way. Yost
Mhm.
Gerard is the guy who puts it together. They give you all the assets for free.
Okay. That's awesome.
So one thing I've thought about is like, why don't I just literally hole up all day and just interview people?
Yeah.
Right. So if I'm doing 30-minute interviews, now that's a long time. I'm not saying I'm going to do like 8 hours of interviews because I may shrivel up and die. But like
Yeah.
one thing I thought about is like I may get a really heavy dosage. The content will be great, sure, but I think more. It's just more. I work better in those type of settings. So one thing I've been
Mhm.
really laser focused on is the podcast booth, getting people set up there. Another thing too is I'm throwing 2 dinners for the
Okay.
speaker. So there is no speaker dinner for DevWorld. And
Yeah.
so what I'm doing is I'm mainly outreaching to engineers and engineering leaders. So I mean, in full transparency, our ICP is engineering leaders, right? We want people to
Yeah.
hire from Torque. So I want to give a shout out to Hank Taylor, head of marketing at Laravel. He put out a podcast with he and Gonto recently.
Okay.
Check out it's Dev Marketing, I think, is what it's called, or Dev Tooling or something like that. The podcast, highly recommend it. But they talked about actually like how to throw dinners specifically, and so that's
Oh,
something.
nice.
So I'm trying to do an engineering leadership dinner, and then I'm trying to do like a dev advocate dinner as
Mhm.
well on 2 nights. So if you think about it, if I can get people on a podcast for an entire day, and then I get 2 dinners going on,
Yeah.
I'm going to meet at least 30 to 40 people. And you're probably, Taylor, you're probably going like, out of 7,500 people, that's not good math, but 30 or 40 intentional connections, I
Yeah.
think is pretty good at a conference. What are your thoughts?
Oh, for sure. Like it's like you could go spread fire and just like spend 1 minute like shaking somebody's hand or saying, "Hey, what's up? Nice to meet you." But I don't know about you, but like I'm generally pretty good with names, but I need to have at least a solid 2 to 5 minute conversation with somebody to lock that in so that I don't forget them. And it's definitely more important. And it's like, it's not exactly the same thing, but like my old CEO, B. Dougie, says, like, you want to get your first 100 true fans,
Yeah.
like in terms of a product,
Yeah.
not exactly the same thing, but it really is true. Like, I would rather have like every conference I've gone to so far, like I met some great people at All Things Open. I mean, we hung out again. We've seen each other at other conferences,
Yeah.
but like first time I met Jason, even though we chat all the time, Roxy, like Richard, a bunch of people, and I had like good connections, and it was us just kind of going into a little nook and cranny. Like we went
Yeah.
out for drinks after, we grabbed lunches together, and that's really where you make those more meaningful connections, and those will last longer than just going spread fire, especially like your conference is like super huge, mine is super huge. You would not be able to scale yourself to like if you were literally trying to hit everybody up there, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think too, one of the things that um, one of the things I've started to do early on is, and even with smaller conferences, is try to. So when I started my conference journey, I used to go, I want to meet one keynote speaker. So prime example, I'll never forget, years ago, DevSpace in Chattanooga.
Yeah.
Reed Evans spoke. And I was like, man, I've loved Reed Evans from afar. I love his stuff. I want to meet Reed.
Yeah.
And like, that was my one goal. I went to a conference and now it was a smaller conference, like 200, 250 people. But like, I met Reed. I shook his hand after his keynote and literally like, Reed, I mean, I would say we're professional besties at this point, right? Like he'll respond to my DMs, he'll come on my pod. If I'm in Knoxville, we'll hang out, right?
Yeah.
And that relationship stemmed out of like 10 years ago.
Yeah, totally.
And I think a lot of people need to let themselves off the hook because I think they get anxiety.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised. Like even if you're introverted or ambivert or extroverted, I would say in general, most people at a large conference like that will probably want to talk to somebody. And like, obviously, like I said, I'm extroverted, so I have no problem just sitting at a table. But, you know, just saying, hey, how's it going? Or what's your name? I know it sounds silly to just, like, but people will tend to open up and start chatting, and having these smaller groups also helps with that too, right? If you're like 100 people at a table, it's even like if you go to dinner with friends, like it happens to me, like when I've gone to a birthday dinner, the table's too big. Like I didn't talk to 2/3 of the table because
that's another issue that I have. I mean, my hot take is like dinner. Like I have like 12 people confirmed for dinners right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you get 10 people at a dinner, you're not talking to half of them. I really think like the perfect dinner is like 5 people.
Yeah. Or you could do something silly like say, hey, okay, we gotta
everybody get up. Yeah, after apps, everybody gets up and switches.
A waiter's worst nightmare, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Seriously. Oh, same.
Anyway.
Yeah, I grew up doing it. God damn it. I want to give a shout to Code to Market. Highly recommend. I've sent that to my team a few times. I think Gonto and Hank Taylor give some really practical advice. The way they are thinking about dev marketing is exactly how I'm thinking about dev marketing from a Torque perspective. I highly recommend checking them out. Let me ask you this. How are you thinking about like, what's some conversations internally with Pomerium?
Pomerium,
around signups? Are you gonna have a QR code on your phone? I know you have a booth, so it's a little easier to do signups there. What are some conversations internally of some goals that you're having for KubeCon?
Yeah, so I'll have to give some context to what the product is to just help shape it a little better. But so we're a security product. I'll give the technical what it is. It's zero trust security, and we're basically an identity-aware proxy platform that enables secure client connections to web apps and services without a VPN. And I'll explain what that means.
I don't even
basically,
know what that means. That sounds great.
In a nutshell, like this is not something you're going to use on Vercel or Netlify. Like when I worked at Netlify, you just push your website up and it's there. Same thing with Vercel. This is more at the network level. So it's really like, this is more for people that have internal apps that they want to secure. And so like part of my job and part of what we're trying to do at the booth is, conveying that in a somewhat simple manner, because like security is inherently complex. So being able to explain it in more simple terms, or like being able to demo that in a reasonable amount of time at a booth. So we're definitely going to have QR codes. We're basically going to try and get them to sign up to Pomerium Zero, which is one of our offerings. You can sign up for free and stuff. And the idea is we want them to just go set up stuff on their computer. Like they don't have to do it immediately there.
Okay.
And part of the reason is we're thinking like, okay, maybe they could do this sign up on our computer there, but then they're not really trying the product.
Correct. Correct.
So that alone, you might be like, okay, whatever, maybe if I have time, I'll do that. But obviously we're going to have some swag, which I can't reveal what it is yet, but like we'll have some, it's going to be decent swag that it's actually enticing to one. You have that first touch point where you speak to them. They hopefully go set it up. They come back for a second touch point where at a minimum, they're still going to get a decent thing of swag. But if they, we're still formulating how to do the nicer swag to give them, like based on, because we're not giving it out to everybody. Sure. But that's kind of the idea. And that's 2 touch points to talk with people. And I think the other thing that's going to be interesting is because like I'm new to that community. I'm still new to Kubernetes as well.
Yeah.
So I think I might potentially have an easier time talking to people.
Oh, you think so? That's kind of an
Well, just
interesting mindset.
because like I'm like, tell me about what you do with Kubernetes. I said I can be like totally transparent. I'm super new. This is even my first conf here. You know, tell me about what you do with your with Kubernetes or whatever. I feel like that, you know, it could go either way, I guess. But
Sure.
I'm thinking it might be to my advantage. We'll see.
Yeah. Do you have any personal goals, right? Do you have any like, I really want to meet these people, or I mean,
Yeah.
have you kind of come up with kind of what your goal? Because I think that's important, right? I don't want to gloss over the fact. I think attending big conferences, you have to walk in with a goal, because if you don't, you're literally going to feel like you didn't do anything.
Yeah. No, I definitely have a goal. Like obviously I have my you know, work stuff I have to do, but there's definitely some people I want to meet, like Marino, who was on one of the Torque DevOps. I think that was yesterday. I don't know if Jason wants to drop that link to
great
that.
panel. Shout out Jason. I mean, I didn't understand half the things that were said, but
Yeah, I met Marino briefly in Toronto at a conference, Refactor DX, in 2023, but didn't really talk too much. But he's in Canada too, and we've chatted a bit. But I'm looking forward to have like a better conversation with him and just hanging. There's Justin Garrison, who's pretty well known in that community.
Yeah, I think he's pretty active on Blue Sky. I think if it's the same one,
yeah. But speaking of dinners, when I went to All Things Open, somebody created an unofficial speakers dinner, which was a smaller dinner, and I got to speak to Justin and some other people in the space that I'd never met. So I'm hoping to go check out his booth, but also maybe hang with him a bit. And there's just some other people in that space that I still got to compile a bit of a list of people I want to hang with.
Sure.
But that's kind of my personal goal, is just like hang with maybe 4 or 6 people in that community and just kind of start learning a bit more about the community, but also those people, you know. So that's my main goal, personal one.
I love that. Is there any conversation you guys are having on a company level of just like, hey, we need to get this many signups, or we need to get, like, is there any? I'm kind of curious, because again, we're having these. I mean, in full transparency, I'm trying to pick everybody's brain, because we're having these exact conversations at Torque. Like, what does it look like with signups, and is there a goal and all that stuff?
Yeah, I don't know our exact goals yet, but one thing I'll say is we're actually testing. I mean, we have goals. What I mean is, like, I don't have an exact number of signups I could give you. It's not because I'm not trying to say it. But one thing we're trying, like, for that whole swag flow I was telling you about, we're going to a smaller conference in Seattle a couple weeks before. So we're going to test it out and see how that goes. And if it goes well, great. If it doesn't go as well, we'll refine it. So kind of like a bit of a test bed, and it's a smaller comp, so less swag to give out to. So we're going to do that just to see how things go. But I'd say the main goal right now for this quarter is really creating awareness about the product.
Yes.
So I've started doing some YouTube shorts. Like they have a YouTube channel, but like a lot of companies, it's not necessarily a big following anywhere yet. It's usually
we're building ours from the ground up right now.
So I'm doing that and some shorts, and I'll have some other content, but I'm also starting to do just informal live streams, more like bringing in community, you know, and I'll have guests on there, like Becca, my good friend that we both know, Becca Harweigel. She's coming on tomorrow. That'll be the first one. But yeah, it's really about awareness. So I think that's like the main high level goal
100%.
right now.
100%. Yeah. So kind of some underlying themes that I want to hit real fast in the last like 10 minutes or so we got together. I've mentioned swag. You've mentioned swag. You know, I've mentioned that swag's going to be good. You've hinted at you guys got some good swag coming out.
Yeah.
Just talk about your overall thoughts around it. I think most companies' swag sucks.
It does suck in general.
Are you guys having that? It sounds like you guys are having that conversation too right now.
Yeah. So I'll give you an example. Right now, I'm wearing this shirt from Sentry. I got it off Syntax. And, you know, the design's kind of like here. It's like a bug slayer.
We're both wearing Syntax.
Oh, yeah. Now, regardless of what's on the shirt, what I would say is I love this shirt because it is a super comfortable t-shirt.
Same.
It's like stretchy and it's like, man. Yeah. And I've definitely gotten t-shirts from other booths and they're literally scratchy, like, and it's just
Yes.
not comfortable. And like,
No.
honestly, I think it's a waste of money. Like, if
100%.
if
100%.
anything, you know, like spend a little more, or if you're gonna give out swag that can't be a t-shirt, get a, I don't know, like I know a lot of people like fidget spinners or something. Like just get high quality. Don't break the bank, but like if you're gonna buy something, make sure it's good.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is a hot take, but I think we're kind of oversaturated with water bottles for swag.
Yeah. We're not doing no water bottles. If
I'm
we
giving
are going to
away
do
water
water
bottles
bottles,
now.
I don't have it with me, but like a really nice one, like a really,
Yeah.
like I have one of those, the ones that's like a 40 ounce doesn't spill situation. That's
Yeah.
like 30 or $40 off Amazon. Like if you're going to do it, like just go big if you're
Yeah.
going to do a water bottle.
Yeah, and I'll point out to a cool swag I got from a couple that I got from All Things Open. So this here, it's just a USB cord, but I got it from SourceGraph. It's really good quality, and it's got multiple things, and I use it all the time. Like
Yes.
it's a useful thing. Not as useful, but I thought it was a cool swag. Is like from Red Hat, like the company, like they were giving out these fedoras, and like I don't wear it obviously, but like
Sure.
my kids are like Carmen and San Diego, but it's a nice, it was just a cool piece of swag, even though I don't really wear it. So yeah, you know, like I get it, it costs money, but I think I'm generally a fan of, if you're gonna buy something, buy it high quality, whatever it is, you know.
One thing we're doing is, and I follow a lot of fashion brands. We're going to kind of model it after a lot of the brands I follow. We are going to probably only have 1 or 2 public things that you can buy.
Mm-hmm.
Like we will have a public interface or a public site, and it's only going to be like 1 shirt. Now it's going to be a good shirt, but it's only going to be 1. The rest we're doing is, so I did get the okay, which I'm really excited about. I'm gonna, the people who are here can hear it first. We are doing a limited run collab swag with All Things OpenAI.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I talked with Todd, and they are allowing us to use some of their graphics.
Okay, cool.
So we are going, so you can only get All Things Open AI swag Torque at All Things Open, right? So that's one thing we're doing. Another thing we're doing too is our ambassadors. Like if you are a part of any internal programs, ambassador, mentor, mentee program, anything we roll out in the future, you will be gifted some very, very high caliber swag. Like right now, like Jason is hosting a Denver meetup. He's flying out there, and we're doing an AI meetup. We will have Carhartt hoodies.
Nice.
So it's like, you know, for us, it's like, and we're going to do limited drops, and we're going to keep things very tight. And we're also going to have kind of like, if you're an ambassador or part of our community and you're really vocal, we're going to have, I kind of took it off a brand called Represent. Represent is a London-based lifestyle and fitness brand. And they have something where like all of their kind of like workout wear / like if you're part of the club says 24/7 on it. Okay. And so we're going to have something like that where like, if you're a part of the inner circle, like you will have that. And so that's, again, like, I really think swag, like I got really deep into like like looking at fashion brands over Christmas. Yeah. And like, if there's one thing that unites a community, it's actually merch or swag or whatever you want to call it, or apparel. You know, it's that public kind of nod. That, okay, you're a part of the club, and that's something that I really want to embody here at Torque.
Yeah, totally. And just getting back to high quality swag, you know, like people are gonna wear it. So like if your name is on it, it's gonna show up wherever they go. Like I still have this, like shout out to like Kent C. Dodds for like Remix Conf. I have this Cotopaxi fanny pack, and I use it all the time. And they had a really high quality hoodie, and I just like the look of it. And I wear that all the time too. So like, you know what I mean? It's not just like, it really isn't. I mean, obviously it's for the people that get the swag, but if it's good swag, you're like getting free promotion all the time, you know?
Yeah. Like, well, so for some reason, I don't think LinkedIn is showing all the comments. Amanda Martin probably dropped in. I want to give a shout out, if it's the same Amanda I'm thinking of, with Wix. Yeah, I still rock the Wix tote bag from Render 2 years ago or 3 years ago, cool. 2 years ago. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, it's a great tote bag, and that's something we're doing too. We're gonna have a tote bag for Torque, and like I take it whenever I go to the gym. If
yeah,
Jackie and I do like a quick kind of one nighter overnighter type situation, like I use it. Like, and I
yeah,
think, and again, like I truly think if you are in marketing, I know I saw some clips from again Hank Taylor from Laravel. Like they have some really really good stuff coming in.
yeah,
Um, I truly think it can unite a community. In my opinion, I think it's incredibly underrated. And again, like I want
totally.
to wear Torque stuff 24/7, but I'm only going to wear 24/7 if it's comfortable and it looks good.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But yeah,
Another thing too, as we kind of wrap up here, another kind of underlying theme was so we had swag. You said something else a few times and I'm drawing a blank. But when it comes, so let's pivot for a second. Any
yeah, yeah,
last,
cool.
I'm trying to remember because there's another thing that you said a few times I want to bring back to it. But any last piece of advice for people just even going to conferences in general, like just anything
Yeah.
that we haven't touched on?
Yeah, I'll just reiterate. I understand people can be shy, but just even if it's a big effort for you, just say hi to somebody. Like, and going to lunch is the easiest thing because it's like
Agreed.
a table. It's like, oh, there's no, I don't know. I just can I sit here, And it's like I know it can be difficult for people, but do that up. If you go catch a talk, hopefully it's a good talk. Let the speaker know. They'll really appreciate it and also gives you a touch point to go speak to the person if it's somebody you wanted to meet as well. Like I know, like I've met Angie Jones a few times now, and like I would consider her a professional friend.
Yeah.
Like don't know her super super well, but met her at React Miami and All Things Open, and I think somewhere else. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Aside from that, there's a lot of talks going on. I'm laughing at Richard Choi, not at him, sorry, but like he's so dedicated to the people
He
that
is.
he really wants to see talks for. And I remember at All Things Open, he's like, I really want to see your talk, Nick, but Danny's speaking. And I'm like, don't sweat it, man. It's cool. Like I appreciate the gesture, but like don't like go there for 10 minutes and then run over to mine or something. It's like I'm not taking offense at all. It's just but just kind of like figure out what talks you can go to. Hopefully they don't overlap with all the people you want to see. It depends, and this is more like depends on the conference, right? If there's one track, that's not an issue, but bigger conferences, it's probably an issue.
Yeah.
Like it happened to me at Render. I caught Scott Tolinsky's talk on CSS, but there was another talk I couldn't catch. I think it was either Kelly Vaughn's or somebody else's, but it was just couldn't do both, right?
Yeah.
So, but
You
yeah,
brought up a great point I want to highlight. Go to talks. I would thread and create content for the speaker.
yeah,
I think that's the biggest hack in my perspective. If you come to any of my talks
yeah,
and you take pictures of me and you tweet thread something, I'm going to repost it.
yeah,
I'm probably going to turn it into content myself and give you credit. I'm going to post the pictures.
hmm
I think it's incredibly, incredibly important. So, like, instead of just sitting in a meeting, instead of sitting in a conference session
yeah,
and watching it and not being active, take notes, live tweet, do
hmm
something because the speaker is going to be so no speaker is
yeah,
going to be upset that you did that. Like, no
yeah,
matter how big they are, right?
yeah,
So, like again, I think creating content, and again, this is why I'm so passionate about content. It's really the great unifier when it comes to networking.
yeah,
So yeah,
totally.
absolutely. I would create content for the speaker.
Yeah, and this just hits the thing. I know you talk about this all the time. I'm a big proponent of this too, but like, and it's not just because of this current job market, and I know the market's getting better, but like I have only seen good things happen in my career since doing things in public. And doing things in public can mean many things. It doesn't mean you have to live stream. It could be you're just blogging or you're posting, like you're saying. But do something to stand out right now.
Yeah,
Just do it, and don't. Doesn't matter if you don't have a big following. Doesn't matter if
yes,
somebody's
correct.
written about something before. Just do it, and you're just gonna see. Like that's how I got contacted for my current role. They knew I post stuff all the time. They didn't read it all, but they're like, hey, like just wondering if this might interest you, and so yeah, just whatever you can do in public, I think is just a net positive. So
100%, 100%. All right, wrap up. Last kind of rapid fire questions. Again, thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate the comments. Obviously, we're fantastic again this morning. Appreciate the Torque community for hopping in here this morning. Please go connect with Nick. He's a heck of a dude. So Nick, first question. Valentine's Day is upon us. Hopefully you've made reservations or doing something, bought flowers or something. What's your favorite go-to candy during this Valentine's Day season? And don't say you like candy, just appease me and pick something.
Yeah. It's definitely not cinnamon hearts, because those things are just like,
ooh,
I don't know. They're just too intense. And it also drank some Fireball whiskey in university.
I've made some decisions off Fireball.
I've made some terrible decisions. But no, I think candy wise, it is chocolate. Like I'll give a shout out to. It's just funny because my American coworker was in Canada recently. He bought Coffee Crisps. They're chocolate bars I didn't realize they were only in Canada, and they're really good. They've got like a slight coffee taste to it, but it's chocolate. Or there's high quality chocolates you can get too. At least in Montreal, there's like, you can go to like kind of like almost like a chocolatier place and get some good chocolate. So that's probably what I'd go with.
Love that.
Jelly beans aren't bad either.
Ugh, gross. Next question. So if I told you that tomorrow morning you can't do anything in tech, but I pay you the same, if not more, aka money's not the issue, what would you do? Like basically, what hobby would you pick up and make it your full-time job?
Yeah, maybe personal training. I like working out. I've been lifting since I was like 16, and like
I saw a picture of you, that you posted the other day.
that is a real picture.
Meathead. I love it.
Yeah. But I think, and like whatever in that spectrum, and just like helping in that industry, whether it's nutrition or training, but it's just like, I just like lifting heavy things. It just makes me feel better.
Same dude. Yeah, lifting heavy things and putting it back down. I love it. Next question. I want to give. This is a new thing I've added. Want to give shout out to people in the community. Who do you want to give a shout out to right now? Anybody in your community who's doing a good job?
Yeah, I'd say I got to give shout out to Roxy, who's in the chat.
Yeah,
she's putting herself out there all the time.
She is, man.
She's breaking in tech, and I really enjoy that she posts all the time, and she's very consistent.
Consistent.
It also shows that she actually goes to the gym every day too. So just want to give a shout out to her.
Handstands for a living. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So handstands as a service. No, I just think she's doing great, and she's just good people. I got to meet her at All Things Open. So
I love it. That's awesome. Shout out Roxy. She's very, very vocal in our chat too, which I'm incredibly appreciative. Last question as we wrap up here. Because I forgot I had a meeting. The show called Guidance Counselor 2.0 because we had guidance counselors in middle school, high school, and college, but now as adults we don't really have them. Well, if you can go back in time and tell young Nick Taylor, anything about his career, what would it be?
I know, honestly, I wouldn't change anything, and it's not to sound cheesy or anything, but it's like I wouldn't be where I am today because of the things I've done. Like I could say stuff like sleep more, shouldn't have, stuff like that.
Fireball shots.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would have said maybe don't play with a broken ankle in a rugby game. Maybe I don't know, stuff like that. But no, in general, I went to university and I didn't apply myself as much in university. It was only after I focused honestly more on rugby, but I graduated. But I think I could have maybe applied myself more in university, but honestly, it didn't really change anything career-wise aside from some people. Yeah, exactly. I got asked for my first job if I had a degree. After that, it wasn't really brought up ever. But yeah, so not too much, kind of like Back to the Future stuff. Don't want to change the future.
I love it. All right. Awesome. Well, y'all, thank you again for tuning in this morning. We appreciate it. Go connect with Nick. Again, if you're going to a conference, take some notes. I think this was a really applicable conversation for the conference season coming up. And last live of the week. So we'll see y'all next week. Nick, appreciate you.
Thanks, man.
You backstage, but y'all have a great one, and we'll see y'all next week.
Later,
Peace.
everybody.